Okay, so we're back with Mark Steele again. Who else? So in this video, he's claiming basically that this, the TFL ULED system, is emitting ionizing radiation. Yeah, from, these little tiny infrared diodes. This is emitting ionizing radiation. And basically, we're just going to show how STEM illiterate Mark is, because if he had anything about him and did just the basic of due diligence, he would know that there is no way this could produce ionizing radiation via the infrared wavelengths. Okay, so I'll let him speak, shall I?
TFL. And I said, how many radar guns have you got? How many radar guns have you attached to the ULEZ? And they said, none. There's any. We haven't got any. They've got Jacobs, one of the large defence contractors, to do an environmental impact analysis, right? It cost tens of millions. And guess what it missed out? The laser detection ranging, that thing, what's called LiDAR, and they missed the radar element for some inexplicable reason. So the people that would know what radar is and what lasers are missed out the hardware. These are Osram Black. They're a biometric sensor. That's a laser symbol there, and you see them focusing into vehicles. So they're focusing into vehicles. These can cause ionization in air. Lasers and cause ionization called.
Okay, so Mark is claiming that, obviously, that this is causing photon ionization. Multi-photon ionization. What does he mean by that? Multi-photon ionization. Okay, so photons effectively have a set wavelength, and the wavelength is equivalent to its energy. So the smaller the wavelength, the higher the energy. So, you've got your X-rays, ultraviolet, gamma rays. Yeah, high photon energy, but a small wavelength. Infrared is not high energy photons. And you can have multi-infrared photons. You could have 2.5 million of these, all focused on that guy on the motorbike. And that will not change anything. That will not change the 850 nanometer wavelength coming out of them. Regardless, yes, he would probably get a bit warm in his levers because the amplitude would increase, but the wavelength would not change. Now, we can show this here, and we can show Mark's STEM illiteracy. So we go to the periodic table. We have, so he says ionization in air. Well, what does that mean? But let's take it as he means it can ionize molecules. Now, ionize atoms even, sorry. But all the molecules in your body are effectively made up of, carbon, oxygen. So let's start with carbon. Okay, so first ionizing energy in kilojoules per mole is 1085. Right. Abundant in the universe. Oxygen, 1313. Okay. So, yeah, that's the energy in kilojoules per mole. Well, let's do a simple equation and get this into electron volts. Yeah, so 13.5 electron volts. Most people round up to 14, but let's say 13.5 to give Mark the benefit of the doubt. Cool. Right. 850 nanometers. It's basically photon energy. Oh, 1.4 electron volts. That's basically room temperature emission. Yeah, that's not going to do anything to you, is it? Now, he does this without doing the most simple due diligence. Why? So this, in terms of ionization for oxygen, this is basically just raising the quantum energy state of the outer ring of electrons. This is the start. It's the first ionizing energy. It's not the full, say, I don't know, gamma ray. This might raise those electrons' quantum energy states, but they will fall rapidly once this emission is gone. But clearly, that is not going to ionize you. As I said, you could have 2.4 million of these, all on that guy there, and the only thing that would change is the wave amplitude or power density, not the wave length. Regardless of how many of these diodes you have, these infrared diodes, it is not going to change the wavelength or the photon energy. It is impossible. It isn't an accumulating effect in photon energy if you just add more and more of the same photons. Because if it was, we'd all die in the sun. Right? The sun produces a fuck ton more than this in all wavelengths of infrared. So, yeah. It's just sheer STEM illiteracy. Why say something with such conviction? Now, this guy is at his little cricket club get-together in London. He has a few conspiracy theory friends there. And he's telling them this, but they don't understand what he's saying. Whereas people like me, and hopefully people like you in the audience who did, basic science in primary and early secondary school will understand that this man is talking bollocks and is completely STEM illiterate. He literally thinks that infrared can reach these kind of electron volts. Then this is just the beginning of ionization. This isn't, you're going to die of radiation poisoning tomorrow. This is the point where you get skin cancer from ultraviolet light, whereas ultraviolet is a magnitude higher than infrared in terms of electron volts. And yeah, it's, it starts at about 6 electron volts. And there is also, within any emission of photons or particles, there is TDS, time, distance, shielding. Okay, so if you worked in the nuclear industry, there was a leak, you would know to get away fast, you would know to get away as far as you can, and you would know to get behind something solid to stop, those gamma rays, those alpha rays from penetrating your body. Well, not so much alpha rays unless you inhaled it into your lungs. So it's TDS, time, distance, shielding. So ultraviolet, for instance, if you go out in the sun with no sunscreen on, it's strong. You've been out in it for 2-3 hours, you're going to get burns, midday sun. And again, time. How much time are you spending in the sun? Distance, not really relevant, but the sun is quite strong, even though it's millions of miles away. It's quite strong. Shielding, can you get under an umbrella? Can you put a t-shirt on, long sleeve shirt? Yeah, it's the same thing. Any photon emission or any particle emission, it's time, distance, shielding. But in terms of the infrared, if we get it here, in terms of that photon energy, you don't need to use TDS. basically, this isn't even what room temperature is. Room temperature is getting on 2 electron volts. This is sub-room temperature photon energy. Okay? And it is unbelievable how this man can spout so much bullshit. It's mind-boggling. Ionization in air. And he said this before, as I mentioned earlier, about the streetlights. The 450 nanometers, or 420, whatever the hell they are. And he mentioned it then, and you're like, okay, but even 450 would be like 2 point, I don't know, God knows what, 1, something like that, electron volts. Around 2 electron volts, maybe. And yeah, for the whole blue light and all that bollocks, but he said it about them, and I think it is literally, it just reels off his tongue, it sounds right in his head, and people listen to him, so therefore he's right. But just doing a basic due diligence there, you would realise that it will not ionise in air, because oxygen ionises, as we've just seen, at 13.5 electron volts, and you would see a blue hue, the same blue hue you see in a nuclear reactor pool. That's what you would see in the air, as he likes to say. And it's mental, absolutely mental, how he thinks like this, or well at least how he's an enigma, isn't he? Because he's clearly not STEM literate, he's STEM illiterate, and he's just spouting it, and I think it just sounds good in his head, because there is no way on God's green earth infrared at 850 nanometers can ionize air. The only thing you could do with infrared is basically increase its power density, its wave amplitude, and the only thing you're going to get from that is heat. And that heat is applicable to inverse square law. So, again, time, distance, shielding. The man's talking bollocks. Absolute STEM illiterate bollocks. Anyway, just a quick video, because I've just come across this. Just going through Facebook as you do. And yeah, I think it's one of his Substacky kind of videos, which I'm going to delve more into his Substack. Not in the next video, that's the big one, just debunking his claim about, obviously, the 24 gigahertz presence detectors on traffic lights being a weapon. Obviously, everything's a fucking weapon, right? But yeah, I'm going to do another one, a deep dive into his Substack and just go through it, because there's loads of stuff in there. Like, he's claiming that radio waves are responsible for the heat wave, but as we know, radio waves have no interaction whatsoever with molecules in the atmosphere, and they have near zero interaction with water vapor. So yeah, no. But anyway, I'm going to go into that. But yeah, just a quick one, because I came across this and I literally had half hour spare to watch and get this video out. So I thought, why not? Why not do it? I actually seen it today on my phone in work, and I was just like sat there on my break thinking, my fucking God, what is this man on about? But yeah, this is some cricket club in London, and for a guy who's scared of radio waves and stuff like that, and what's that router doing there, Mark?